All right, trying something new this time with the mic. There's a creator, I'm forgetting her name, but I will tag it. She does this and it's really cool. And I was like, I don't know, I'll give it a try. In this video, I'm going to break down the campaign that I did for Selah for one of their collections. I posted one of the finished videos from this collection shoot and it went like ballistic. It's not like viral, but for my page and for my following, it has like exceeded that. As of the recording of this video, it's at 60K views on Reels and like over 2,000 likes and 2,000 saves and shares. I've never talked about this video. I never expected it to do so well because to me, it's a pretty basic video, but I figured why not? Let me just hop on here and do a quick breakdown of how we lit it, how we shot it, how I edited it, how I colored it. We shot this in Atlanta at a studio on a white cyc wall. And usually white cyc walls are kind of like a little scary for me because white is just so reflective and it's a little hard to light, surprising. Like you think it's pretty simple because it's just a white backdrop, but lighting white, I'll admit that I've struggled with it for years. Every time I've done like white backdrop shoots, my typical approach is to just light the subject and go about my day. And usually that always ends up with the background being a little grayish and I hate it. So the location we were at had a skylight, which actually helped a little bit because we shot during the day. So the skylight was like super diffused, like it had a covering over it, but it brought in just a little bit of level that kind of spread across the back of like the cyc wall. And so that kind of brought my levels up already in the camera. I had an aperture 600D. We had that with the, the dome on there. And then we had across from it, the aperture 300D with the dome. That was running at like maybe 33% or 20%, something super light. And it was just filling one side of the models. Whereas the 600 was actually doing a lot of the work and was lighting the side of the model's face. It was our key, but the light was also spilling onto the background, which was allowing us to have like kind of like wrap lighting. So we were getting a side of the face, kind of their back, so a little bit of like hair light kind of, as well as the backdrop was getting a lot of white so that it was also coming in as white and not gray. And then I also had a Godox ML60 by in the very back. Because the cyc wall didn't go all the way to the ceiling, I was able to put the stand in like this back closet storage room and boom it up over the backdrop and allow a harsh hair light to hit the back of the models. It's really subtle, you probably wouldn't notice it, but it definitely helped separate the models from the backdrop, as well as I think some of it was kind of spilling onto the backdrop. So again, just helping it be white. Camera wise, we were shooting this on the Blackmagic 6K Pro with a DZO, I believe 50 to 125. And if not, it was a 20 to 55. I think it was a 50 to 125 because all I remember was I had to be all the way like against the back wall of the studio in order to get a good shot full body. And that's what we kind of wanted to be able to do, was get full body, but also detail shots. And so I think that's why I chose the 50 to 125, because at 50, you get a good compressed image of the models walking, but then we could punch in and get those like tighter shots of the details of the garments. Filming wise, again, it was pretty simple. We just had the models walk from the back to the front. And I did some things where I'd have them come in from the sides and exit out of the sides. So I'd have some options to play around with in post. Yeah, that's pretty much it. They just did their thing, they modeled, they walked. They didn't need much direction because they're all really good at what they do. It was a pretty smooth shoot as far as getting the stuff done. In post-production was where I was kind of like proud of myself, I guess, because in my initial color, and if you color, you know this. If you color once and you go to sleep and you wake up and come back and look at it, you typically realize like, this could be better. And that's exactly what happened with this. I think in general, Blackmagic can be a little bit warm and pink. And so in my initial color, I kind of left it that way. But when I came back and looked at it like the next day or something, I realized like, okay, I need to dial this in. Don't let it be warm, let it be cool, really get that white to be white. And so I believe I just used like the clicker tool to click on the white of the backdrop and let Davinci figure out what white was. My initial reaction right away was like, oh, this is way too cool, as in like temperature cool, not like it was cool. And I wanted to kind of bring it back towards the warm side because that just felt comfortable to me. But something in my head told me, leave it, let it be. So I let it be cool because obviously when you cool down, like skin tones are affected, things like that. And I wanted to still see like the brightness of the garments. I wanted to see the skin tones and still see those colors, which are naturally warm. And so instead of turning up everything, I went in and found the color of skin tones and turned that up. So I did that. I also applied Dehancer And on Dehancer, I forget which film stock I use exactly, but I'll find it and I'll put it in the video. But I used the film stock to get it into like kind of like a different look. I believe the film stock kind of cooled it down a little bit also, but kind of gave a little punch that just made it look special. Obviously I turned it down a lot because you don't want it to be like an overbearing effect. But yeah, so I had that slightly. I think I sharpened the edges of the footage a little bit so it was coming off nice and clear and crisp and clean. And then yeah, that was pretty much it. From the editing standpoint, again, pretty basic, but the difference in this one from a lot of other Selah projects that I've done, I typically like to shoot some of the Selah projects at just 24 frames per second because that's just my preferred frame rate. There are times where we know when we get to post, we want to do different effects. One of the most recent ones that we just did, which I'll also make a breakdown about, we shot at 60 because we knew we wanted to do slow motion in the edit as the guy was running away from the camera. In this specific one, I think we kind of were just in the air about it. And so I aired on the safe side and just shot everything at 60 because I wanted to have the option to slow things down in post. When I finished the edit, initially, I was like, it's kind of missing something. And what that was to me was speed ramping. And when I went in and utilized the 60 frame per second footage, and I ramped the beginning and the end. If you don't know what speed ramping is basically when you like ramp, obviously, but when you take footage, maybe it has to be shot at like 60 or maybe it's like 120, 240, whatever. Or it could be at 24 actually, so scratch that. It's when you take footage and you ramp the speed. So you can either go and increase the speed of the footage and then bring it back down, or you can slow it down and then speed it back up. So in this case, I did the slowing down. So it's like fast motion, slow motion, fast motion, and there's a ramp. And so it's not just like this hard drop off and then hard ramp up. It's smoothed out in Davinci. So in Davinci, all you have to do that, it's so much simpler than in Premiere. With the click of a button, you can set a point, and then I have it mapped on my keyboard. I use it enough times to just have a keyboard shortcut, but I pull up the tool that allows you to take those points that you made and ramp it. So you can add a curve onto it, which allows it to kind of do that cool effect of like ramping instead of just straight, you know, slowing down and speeding up. So once I added the speed ramp to it, I think that's what tied it all together, because it kind of just gave a smooth vibe that kept you, to me, it keeps you engaged in the video because you're kind of like, you're already being kind of thrown into the next shot before you can go ahead and swipe off or click away from the commercial. I also did a little bit of zooming in and out in post, which again is so easy in Davinci. It's literally a click of a button and you can just like drag out how much you want it to be zooming in or out. I like to keep it really subtle, so I think I just like barely moved it, so you might not even be able to tell that it's doing a lot of zooming, but it is. And that was pretty much it. That wrapped up the edit. I'm not sure why everyone loves it so much, but maybe that's also what's that one thing that we all have? I forget what it's called, but like basically where we doubt ourselves and we never think we're good enough. I'm thankful for everyone that's engaged on it, everyone that's shown it some love. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out on my page or on Selah's page as well. There's also another variation of a video that we did on Selah if you want to check that out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions on how we did this one, let me know. I'm always down to answer questions and just help people out. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next one. Peace. I don't know, I kind of like holding the mic. It's like a fidget toy. It kind of keeps you engaged instead of just talking and having a mic. I think I'll do this more. What do y'all think? Do you like the mic? Do you don't like the mic? Should I drop it? Should I keep it? Let me know in the comments. All right, peace.